love was the Beatles and Ringo was your favorite, but I'd heard you say that kind of progressive music was where your love kind of developed. It's where it blossomed when you were kind of late teens, early 20s sort of thing. But just moving on slightly, you'd worked with Eddie Jobson, who obviously we know from the likes of UK and Curved Air and things like that. So how did you go from progressive rock and Eddie Jobson to working with Ted Nugent, Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades, and the Damn Yankees?
Yeah, that's quite the jump, isn't it?
It is indeed.
I will tell you, there's something about the British arts, be it music or visual, that I've loved all my life. So not only am I a lifelong Beatles fan, I'm a lifelong Bowie fan. It's not surprising that I would then discover the band Yes, and then UK and all of this wonderful British progressive rock. So the shortest story that I can offer here is I had moved to New York City when I was 22 years old to work with Eddie Jobson. And we had a recording project. We weren't performing live, but we were just writing and recording a lot of songs, because he was doing a solo project called Zinc at the time. This would have been 1985. After a while, my other New York City drummer friends were starting to get tours, and I started getting very jealous because Eddie and I were just strictly doing this recording studio project. So one day I said, would you mind if I tried to find a tour? And he said, no, that would be a great experience for you to do so. And I ended up auditioning for and landing the gig playing with Tommy Shaw, who of course would then years later become my Damn Yankees, collaborator. Tommy Shaw at that point had left the band Styx, was doing a solo career, and I played in Tommy's solo band for a few years. Although during that time, Eddie and I were still doing the recording project. So whenever I was home in New York, Eddie and I would get together and work on more recordings. And a few years later, when the Damn Yankees idea came into fruition, Tommy very graciously brought me in. And, that became the real baptism by fire for my career. Because I was still just, a young unknown guy. And all of a sudden I'm in this, super group with three very famous people and then one young unknown kid. But it became a wonderful experience. And I will tell you, there were times that I remember vividly during Damn Yankees where, because I had grown up loving and playing British progressive rock, left to my own devices, I'm going to start thinking along those lines, which is a different approach musically, a lot of odd time signatures, and there were times with Damn Yankees where it would just happen that I would start playing like a progressive rock drummer, and I would start doing like inversion of time just because I was very comfortable doing it, and they would literally turn around and say, "Remember who you are playing with," because they knew of my history with Eddie. And I've told Eddie that story, and he really got a kick out of that, by the way.
I bet. So how did it feel? Because you said yourself there that you were the unknown. I mean, you've got three guys who come from huge backgrounds and stuff. So at the time, with all the due respect in the world, it's a super group, but you were unknown. So how did it feel being part of
that? It felt like I was being given this wonderful opportunity that I was very aware that I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time, kind of a scenario. And I will tell you, as the process was unfolding while we were writing songs for the first Damn Yankees record and getting ready to record that first record, the news kind of leaked out about this band forming and getting ready to record. And then phone calls started to come in from other very famous drummers in other very famous bands saying, hey, you know, I would love to play on that record. So there was a moment of time where I thought, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to be out of here any minute now. But thankfully, Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades, Ted Nugent were very happy with what I had been doing, because by this point, we had been working, building the music for that first album for almost a full year.
Okay.
And what was happening was they were taking a young drummer who had a fair amount of skill and was coming to them saying, what do you guys need me to be? And they kind of molded me in what that drummer role in Damn Yankees needed to be. So I feel like I can, it's easier for me to look back and see that it was working. So don't fix something that isn't broken. And, you know, it was wonderful of them to have the foresight to do that. And, you know, that first album, which now is 34 years old, I'm very proud, Paul, to say that that record continues to sell. All these years later, that album made some kind of a mark with people, and people still seem to like it. And I could not be more proud of that album.
And it's not just the album, it's the band itself. People do look back fondly on the Damn Yankees, and I'm sure you get asked all the time. And I've heard you say before that you still remain friends. The four of you are all good friends. You do touch base every now and again. You never officially disbanded. You put it on pause, I think, is what you've said in the past. So would you look favorably? Would you welcome a reunion of sorts, whether that's touring or new music?
I would do it today.
You've got a concert tonight. You can't do that.
I'll do it right after our concert tonight. Yes, Paul. We have all stayed in touch. In fact, Ted Nugent just texted me yesterday. So we've all remained friends over the years. We have never said never. So anything is possible. But the reality is we have four very separate, very demanding careers.
Yep.
And literally to try and find a window of opportunity, even a few weeks, that we're all free at the same time has proven to be an impossibility. So it's not about the desire. It's literally just about the physical time. Can it ever happen? Because all of us would love to do it. And maybe one day we can.